Hello everyone. Thank you all for joining. And oh boy, what a space. Own your sound in Web3, right? Hello there, team. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
I can. Thanks for having me. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you great. Thank you also for taking the time on doing this. I'm really excited on actually learning about what's coming up with us, but I'm not gonna go too deep right now into details because yeah, we want our audience to have a little bit of a surprise. I think we are fairly ready to start. People might be joining in later as well, but the session is being recorded. So, yeah, there shouldn't be an issue. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. First and foremost, my favorite part, the housekeeping. Thank the audience for being here. Time is our most valuable asset, and we appreciate all of you for giving us a little bit of yours. As I said earlier, we are here with Tim Gentry, the CEO and co-founder of TokenTraxx. For those of you that don't know, TokenTraxx is the next level of the music community by supporting the creators, rewarding the curators, and obviously empowering the collectors. So yeah, hey there, Tim. Please give a little bit of introduction to the Venians that don't already know you.
Yeah, I think I can see maybe one of your listeners that might know me already, but for so sorry, Euro, that you're hearing this again. But for everyone else, my background is in media and advertising, and I joined that industry in the mid 90s, and lived through the digital transformation of advertising and publishing, and then TV, in the 90s and early 2000s and 2010s. And I suppose having found out that my passion, the thing that I was good at, was working out new business models and how technology can transform creative industries, and then making growth happen in the middle of all that. I set up a consulting practice which focused on that stuff. And then one of my consulting clients, and partners, happened to be one of the TokenTraxx co-founders, and that's how I got lured into to this project. Um,
All right, thank you so much for sharing this. Wow, well, you're basically in this industry from the 90s. This is a lot of experience on your back. I'm just wondering, when did you join the blockchain technology, or how did you find out about it?
in terms of my Web3 experience,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm pretty young on my Web3 journey, really, from sort of the 2019 ish, when my sons started trading altcoins. So that was the really my first experiences around Web3. So I think what I'm bringing to the space is a bit of humility and understanding that I don't know everything, but the experience of having seen what digital transformation looks like when it happens. Because back in the 90s, this was, what's happening now in Web3 was happening to legacy industries, and it's really interesting to see the parallels, because they happen all over the place. And then, I'm blessed to be surrounded with a great group of people who are, have been in Web3, from sort of a decade or so, including my co-founder Paul Taylor, who's done a lot of work in this space, Brian Elders, who runs a digital asset business called Soars, and is also a partner of a number of digital asset businesses around Europe, and Jitin Jain, who was with Consensus back in 2016, so part of the original crew there. So we've got a lot of Web3 legacy at TokenTraxx, but what I bring is is a bit of skills in how to build businesses in the middle of everything being a bit chaotic and changing fast.
Awesome, perfect. We obviously love the transparency that you give, and yeah, I think this is basically what crypto is right now, and it tells a lot about the space because obviously the wide adoption, right, the big masses hasn't yet came in, and yeah, basically people that know about crypto do it because yeah, they either trade or it's from someone else. So yeah, we are still early in the game. This is what I understood from what you said. So definitely love it. Okay, then this actually brings me to my next question. I'm just wondering what inspired you to start developing a music-based project in Web3?
Well, I mean, I joined slightly after TokenTraxx got started, about sort of 6 months into the TokenTraxx journey. But my motivation was, I suppose, just the intersection of my professional passion, which I've spoken about. Sort of, I've learned that I'm really good at working out how to transform creative industries and media and develop new business models in that sort of environment, with a personal passion. I guess, like most of us on the call, I'm deeply passionate about music. I've been DJing for longer than many of our listeners will probably have been alive, and it's just a great opportunity to combine professional and personal passions for me. I think it's also interesting to touch on at this point what Tommy D's motivation was, as he started as he was the original founder of Token, or is the original founder of TokenTraxx, and Tommy was, as a producer, artist, and DJ who's done is multi-platinum and has done billions of streams and worked with artists like Kanye and Jay-Z and Kylie and all sorts of artists all around the world. Was when the pandemic hit in the spring of 2020, so 3 years ago now, sort of receiving phone calls left, right, and centre from highly talented friends and colleagues in the creative industries who were having their businesses and personal lives implode, because all of their live recording revenues were obviously disappeared and turned off at the drop of a hat. And really, pre-pandemic and pre-Web3 hitting music, then live revenues were really the lifeblood for many artists. So he was trying to solve the problem of, well, how do we make some money? How do we pay our bills? And Tommy's been around in crypto since sort of 2017 or so. So he'd heard about NFTs and started to think about how they could be used to change the industry.
Wow, wow. I really love that you guys also have the experience from the other end, right? You mentioned the initial founder is a DJ, so this means, and a fairly big one as well. So you guys also understand the other end of the industry, right? It's not just, hey guys, we are going to create a marketplace for NFTs and whatnot, but we also understand what creators need and maybe even help them build up on their community and whatnot. Another interesting thing, especially for this type of projects, right? Because there are not a lot of NFT music marketplaces or communities. I think that overall, regardless of what you are and where you are in your crypto road, even if you're a gamer, right, an NFT collector, crypto investor, TA or FA analyst, I think we all need to sometimes just, take a break and listen to some music just so we don't, lose our minds and whatnot. Because if you're just watching for the charts all day, this can be very quickly, very, hard to follow up on. But all right. I get you. So maybe now we can dive a little bit into the music history if you want, and maybe kind of what changed over the years, because I know that, yeah, we've been using vinyls back in the days, and that was a fairly hard to copy, right? It was hard to get it as a second hand, for example. So yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about the music industry and how it changed over the years, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so I'll focus on my lifetime in the music industry, because I think that gives us quite a long time to look back on. But yeah, if we go back to the 80s, really, then vinyl was the number one format, and the only risks to revenues for or copyright infringement were either bootleg vinyls, which did existed, and I've got quite a few of them, so copied vinyls. Or mixtapes. Obviously mixtapes came from DJing and DJs creating mixtapes of their sets. But I think that was the start. And if anyone has ever sort of delved into the history of hip hop, then I'd sort of then I guess this will ring some bells. But if you haven't, it's worth understanding, because I think the history of hip hop tells us a lot about the development of the history of the music industry, because it was the development of mixtapes, it was the use of samples that started to really begin to make the changes in the music industry in the 80s, and then we started to see lots of different physical formats coming out, cassettes and CDs and things like mini discs, if anyone remembers them, so a range of other different physical formats, but still all the time they were always being sold, and revenues from those formats were really strong. Then late 90s, a file sharing platform called Napster came along, and this was a peer-to-peer file sharing platform, and the late 90s internet was quite similar to Web3 culturally. It was decentralized, a bit rebellious, a bit anarchic, wanting to tear down structures and do things differently. Worth having a look at a show on Netflix called Playlist, which is the story, a bit of a sort of embellished story of the creation of Spotify, because that sort of really catches the vibe then. Napster caused record company revenues to go into absolute freefall, because it made music available for free. It was a pure play ad funded model, and then in the middle of that, Spotify came along as a way to do it differently, and Spotify and Apple Music and I suppose paid streaming services evolved from that, and that evolved a model that works really well in lots of ways. It works really well if you're a user, because we've all now got everything that's ever been made, or more or less everything that's ever been made, on all of our devices. It works really well if you're a label, because labels' business performance is really strong, and it works, and because that's partly because of the deals that Spotify struck with the labels, and it also works really well for the big artists as well. But there's a lot of people that it doesn't work for, and I'm sure we'll get into that as we go along.
Wow, awesome. Thank you for that. Indeed, everything has already been made, right? I think I've heard this maybe more and more in the past years. All right, that's only fair. So, and then maybe it's time to touch on a little bit on what's unfair in the traditional business model of the music industry, because I think this is just something that you guys can actually sort out. So yeah, maybe you can give us a little bit more details from that point of view. Just tell us a little bit of how the traditional business model is right now, and maybe what you guys can change or improve to it.
Yeah, so I suppose the traditional business model based around streaming is that I think the core challenge in the music industry is that there are lots of intermediaries, so lots of middlemen, from the streaming services themselves to the record labels, to the publishing and distribution companies, and then all of the various different service providers that are involved in supporting artists. That there's lots of slices taken away from not much money to start with. And what the net effect of that is that the average payment per stream on Spotify is 0.004 cents. So that means if you make a record and it gets a million streams, then you're likely to make a few $1,000s. But a million streams is really, really hard to get, and you only get a few $1,000s, and then you probably get that about 6 months after you release your record. And the net effect of this, and I mean, I don't know if it's wrong or unfair. I guess that depends on your point of view about what's wrong and what's unfair. But I do know that it categorically doesn't work for 99.5% of artists. I mean, only 0.5% of the 11 million artists on Spotify make more than $10,000 a year. And I don't think any of us would say that $10,000 a year is a living wage in most economies, at least. I mean, and as I'm working in the business now, I come across it all the time in terms of real world stories. I mean, I was talking to an artist last week. They have 700,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So I think if any of us had, if we had 700,000 listeners to the Venly Twitter Spaces every month, we'd be thinking we've got an amazing community. So 700,000 monthly listeners. They've got records with over 40 million streams. But this band have got day jobs, because even that kind of success doesn't create a living for them. And so I think that's the opportunity here. The Web3 technology, with all of its power to decentralize, to bring communities together, and to create faster, more efficient ways of doing things, more transparent ways of doing things, gives 99.5% of the music population an opportunity to improve their position.
Wow, that's 99.4%. So for them, it doesn't really work. That's a huge number. And indeed, for me, it's kind of the same as I mentioned earlier, right? It's about the mass adoption that needs to come in. And for these guys, it actually makes sense, right? The whole blockchain technology, it actually makes sense. The whole ownership and everything that comes with it, it actually makes sense for artists to get involved with it. The only downside, as I see it, is that obviously if you're an artist, maybe you're, or in most of the cases, you're not a developer as well, so it might be hard for you to do it. But this is where you guys actually come in place and help with. I love it. I really like it. All right, maybe I'll try to drop some albums myself afterwards. All right, so indeed, let's try to dive a little bit into how does the Web3 technology change the way we think about music and artists, and also how do you see Web3 music evolving in the next few years, if you want?
Yeah, so I think in lots of ways, then some things from the current music industry will continue. I mean, live experiences are live experiences, and they really can't be matched for in an emotional experience with an artist, and also a great way of ensuring the artist is being rewarded for their work. And streaming is a great way to discover loads of music, and the streaming services algorithms, particularly Spotify's algorithm, is very, very powerful for helping us to discover new artists. So I think that those aspects probably stay the same. What changes is that more and more artists start to experiment with the technology to find new ways of building their community, and new ways for their community to reward them and be rewarded. And I think there are, we mentioned that it's only 0.5% of the top 0.5% of artists that are making more than $10,000 a year. But with Web3, some of the more successful Web3 artists who are in the broader music industry tiny and no one's ever heard of them, are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from creating digital collectibles with packed with utility and fantastic experiences that they're marketing to their fans. So it's really changing the relationship between artist and musician, allowing them to get much closer together and support one another.
Wow, awesome. Thank you for that. And I also agree with the fact that indeed maybe we are still so early in, especially in the NFT music space, right? I don't think there that we actually have the bikes or crypto punks of NFT musics just yet, right? Obviously, it's easier to get more revenue, but I don't think there's like an overpowering, like there's only one NFT music collection that is, well known and has the all the adoption. So there is a bunch of place to still build up on it for sure. All right, thank you for that. And we also love that. The thing is, I'm just wondering because you touched on how hard it is for um, artists to be discovered on these Web2 platforms. So how do you guys manage this? How easy is for people to find new artists on your platform?
So I think the thing that is important to understand about TokenTraxx is that what we've built in the TokenTraxx marketplace is just the sandbox for all of the technology that we're building, and we will deploy that technology across music communities everywhere. So I think it's really important that everyone hears that and understands it. TokenTraxx doesn't only exist on tokentraxx.com. We think that if you're the sort of approach of just build a marketplace that just lives in one place and users have to go to it, then that feels a bit Web2 to me. It feels a little bit like sort of a Facebook approach where if you're a Facebook user, you need to be on Facebook. If you want to buy NFTs from OpenSea, you need to be on OpenSea. The way we're doing things is that all of our marketplace technology is available for any music community. So think a record label, a radio station, an artist themselves who have their own presence online and want to offer digital collectibles. They have their own track studio, so they have their own marketplace, which has got all of the functionality, payment rails and token gated areas, and all the stuff that we've built is available for them. So we'll be doing the first one of these next week on a small Ibiza-based radio community called OpenLab.fm. So do check that out next week. I think and then OpenLab I think is an interesting story, right? Because OpenSea, the world's biggest NFT marketplace, has a few 100,000 monthly users. I think around 250,000 monthly users. OpenLab, the Ibiza radio station that most people have never heard of, has 50,000 monthly users. There's another track studio that we're working with a content business called Dumi, which is run by 6 people in London. But because they're a content business, they have 200,000 monthly users. So I think you touched on earlier the importance of creating mass adoption. So we believe that by taking our technology to where communities already are, that will be the thing that really creates the scale.
I love it. I just love it. And I love that you touched on the fact that this is not just on one platform, right? This is more of a sentiment. This is more of a, I belong in here. It's not just on, as you said, on TokenTraxx that you are building up, and it's not just there that this is happening, right? I really love this. So you said openlab.fm, right? Let's make sure everyone heads over there and checks out. I think you mentioned next week will be launched. So we'll make sure to head over there.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
We'll tweet and at the Venly crew, because we'll make sure you all hear about it. So thank you guys.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I think now it's time to dive a little bit into the different ways that the creators, the curators, and the collectors interact with your platform. We touch a little bit on the subject, but let's expand on the other two as well, please.
Yeah, sure. So Right. First, let's sort of say who these people are. Right. So creators are the people that make music. Curators are the tastemakers. So the DJs and the labels, and then collectors are all of us who love supporting musicians and collecting music in all its various different shapes and forms. So creators can work with us in one of two ways. They can have their own track studio. So if you're a creator with your own website, you can have your own marketplace and work with us in that way. And you can mint directly on TokenTraxx.com. Whether you're an established artist and you can benefit from the services we provide from our music industry pros in kind of white glove service, or someone who's more undiscovered and up and coming, you can submit your work to us direct from the website, and the team will give you a call and onboard you, and you'll be able to mint your NFTs there. So that's how creators can work with us. Curators, the tastemakers, similarly, you can either have your own track studio, so a record label or a radio station like openlab.fm can have their own track studio, or you can start to build your own record label, your own Web3 label on TokenTraxx. If you go to TokenTraxx, you'll find one from Wild Awake, which is being developed by an established Web3 artist called Sound of Fractures. He's had a successful journey in Web3 and learnt how to do it, and he's also a music lecturer. So he's building a label, a collection of artists that he's supporting and mentoring, and they all exist in his area. And obviously he has a commercial arrangement with those artists for the support that he's providing in terms of sharing in the same way that old school record labels do. And then collectors can come and support, come and buy the NFTs, enjoy the collectibles, enjoy the access that gives you to new types of content experiences and in real life experiences as well. And you can collect on TokenTraxx.com and on all the track studios that exist. And coming soon, you can collect TokenTraxx NFTs, if I can say that now. Coming soon, you can collect TokenTraxx NFTs on Venly too.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah, indeed. And I really like what you said. It's really cool that you can have your own track studio, right? It's basically like a marketplace. Maybe you want to have like a track studio, your own label studio. So you guys really touched on a bunch of the stuff that are from Web 2, but you made it in Web 3 in a seamless way. I think that's really nice what you guys have been already building in there. I'm just wondering how many artists do you guys already collaborate with, if you can name a few?
So most of the artists that we're working with, we've focused on independent artists. So you will not hear within the TokenTraxx roll call a huge number of artists that you're familiar with. We've feared that, I mean, we have people that know intimately all the big artists in the world, but they're already making tons of money, and we're more interested in helping emerging artists to start with. The larger artists will come further down the line. We've got Afrobeat artists and Afrobeat and rap artists from Nigeria, like Psycho YP, who's really hot and coming up fast as a fast-growing cool rapper from Nigeria. We've got Rap Boy, who's done he's quite established, been around for a couple of decades, have done lots in the skate scene. We've got Sarah Main, who's a big DJ. She's offering a fantastic NFT that gets access to some of her club experiences in Ibiza. And the list grows pretty much every day, and we tend to have sort of 2 or 3 new artists minting every week. One other one to call out is Kwame, who's a very established music manager, and he's NFT'd his time and experience. So by collecting Kwame's NFTs, if you're an up-and-coming musician, you can have access to his mentoring and tuition in how to grow your career. But rather than me talk to you about all of them, the best way to find out is go to TokenTraxx.com, head to the artists page, and then and dig in, because all of their stories and who they are and what they've done is all on there.
Perfect. Thank you indeed. I think it's very important to fully understand also their stories, because they need to be also heard. And I also know for a fact that you guys have, besides a great team working behind it, you have a great team of advisors that are helping all of these people that, regardless of their experience or what they know about the space, they can be helped if they have the right artist and the willingness to actually do it. Okay, thank you for that. It was an awesome talk around it. Now I would like to dive into, and this is a little bit of my favorite part, and maybe you think the same as me, it's tokenomics. I would really like to know how the Traxx token builds up upon your ecosystem, because I imagine there are different ways it actually interacts. So maybe this is also good for people that want to invest just in the token. And even if you're not interested in the music part or whatnot, maybe you also want to see what TokenTraxx is all about. So if you can expand on that, it would be great.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think the best way of thinking about Traxx token is being the gas for this ecosystem. So we are building an ecosystem of Traxx studios, each one of which has a very big community. The small ones, maybe a few 10,000 or so, the bigger ones, millions of monthly users. And all of the transactions that happen on the ecosystem will be primarily in Traxx, but all that and even those transactions which aren't happening in Traxx, so for example, people can use Apple Pay or Google Pay, in the back end, Traxx is the gas really being used for the transaction fees. So it's a utility, exchange, and reward token, because by holding Traxx, you can join memberships, and the more you're holding and staking, the better the membership benefits get. So think of it in some ways as it's almost like the ETH for the music industry meets a really cool airline reward scheme, because it's having one token that rewards all the communities, that joins all the that's the thing that joins all the communities together. And just think about the reality of it. We're all members of many music communities. We have varied tastes. Someone might like hip hop and heavy metal, and those two types of music aren't often found in the same community, but you can earn benefits by engaging with with Mixtape Madness, your hip hop community, and then maybe exchange those for rewards being offered by Kerrang, your metal community. So I think that aspect is the thing that sort of really accelerates the network effect of bringing all these communities together, and being able to reward and incentivize really acts as the catalyst for adoption and community growth.
Awesome. I love it. And I love the fact that you guys once again bring this mentality from Web3 to Web2, right? Now it's a little bit of back and forth, because I think the overall Web3 sentiment is that, there's no enemies, right? It's rather projects collaborating with each other, rather than just being, hey, this is my enemy, we need to take their community. I think the Web3 is really all about bringing everyone together. So it's really cool to see that you guys are trying to get this back and implement it in their mindset as well. And also I see I see. I really like how the Trax token works. While I was browsing your website, I've also noticed that you guys have right the different staking options, right, for gold, for platinum. So there's also utility. There's really a lot you can do with it. Again, I also I suggest everyone to head over to tokentraxx.com /about/ Trax token. You will find out all the details about it there. I think it's kind of time to dive into the really juicy details that we why we're having these spaces, and I would like to talk a little bit about the upcoming drop, the co-drop actually that we want to do together, which is with an amazing rap artist that goes by the name Rude Boy. Can you please elaborate on the drop and maybe how can people buy it, what they can use to buy it, and whatnot?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of what you can use to buy it, then you can either use Trax tokens, or you can use or you can use Apple Pay and Google Pay. The cool thing is that it's available on both Venly and TokenTraxx, and this is the first time we're doing it, but we're going to do it a lot. So that's one of the things in our roadmap that we're really excited about. And then I might actually have someone from the team who's on the call who could maybe sort of jump in if I think TokenTraxx are here as a listener. If we could ask them to become a speaker, because they've really got the backstory on the artist much better than I have. So
Sure thing. Yeah, sure thing. I've just invited them. I hope they are on the mobile, because I don't think you can actually join from the web version of it. So make sure, yeah, make sure they are on a mobile device. I've sent an invitation.
But if not,
Let
I mean,
us.
I'm quite happy to sort of to jump in and the yeah the work itself is it's a hip hop NFT. The um, the utility of it. I'll tell you what. Let's come back to the details of the NFT, because I'd really like to share a little bit more on that, but I don't have them to hand at the moment.
Hey guys.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey,
Hey
hello
guys.
there.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
So I could talk a little bit about Rude Boy and his NFT. So Rudy is Rudy is his name. He's my mate. He's been making music for about 3-4 years now, and he makes like cool hip hop sort of like crossover between electronic type of music. And he was just like really keen. He was really keen to sort of get introduced to the space. He's really new to NFTs. Like this is his first drop, and it took some convincing to get him to really understand all the benefits of what being in Web3 could really be. But once we were able to communicate that to him, he was definitely very keen, and I think he's definitely gonna do more drops going forward, because we sort of, a lot of artists, they have the feeling like this is so difficult, releasing an NFT, but we set it up for him so easily, and that's what we really want to do for all artists, just make it a really accessible space for them. And we did that, and he's really happy, and he's looking forward to setting up more drops with us. So yeah.
Awesome, perfect. We're also looking forward to having more and more of his music. We're looking forward to join his community and really interact with everyone in there, because, yeah, I think this is what brings us a peace of mind at the end of the day, right? Since we are talking about these, different artists that are getting on your platform, I was just wondering, are there any requirements for the artist to join your platform? I don't know, maybe they need to have like a specific number of followers, community, or they need to have to already have some albums out. Is there any requirement for them to in order to join?
No, there isn't. So all our only requirement is that the music is good, and that's all. That's all that Ollie is also helping me on the artist onboarding. And the only thing that we care about at TokenTraxx is making sure that the music is good, and also making sure that you are committed to the space. So if you're interested in that, go into TokenTraxx, and there's a little button at the top in the About section of our nav bar where you'll see Submit Your Music, and just click Submit Your Music, book in a call with us, and we'll talk you through the process. We at TokenTraxx, we don't just want it to be a submit the form and then that's it. We are curating call drops with artists and helping them create art, helping them think about what utility to bake into their drops, creating 3-month plans with these artists to make sure that they're building the best possible NFTs that they can, whether they've got 1 follower on Instagram or 100,000.
Perfect. So make sure to be good. I love it. I love it, and it also assures that the quality for the artist and for people that are browsing your app is perfect. I really like this. All right, then I guess this kind of little bit brings me to my next question. I'm basically curious on what you guys have coming up on your roadmap. Maybe you can please explain a few milestones that you are excited about coming up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, sometimes at the moment it feels like there's so much stuff coming up that it's a bit hard to keep up. But I'll shout out. I think 4 or 5 of the things that I'm super excited about. Number one, of course, is the next stage of our Venly partnership. So we're doing this joint drop on TokenTraxx and Venly of the Rude Boy NFT, we're just excited about building on that, making that one a success, and then building on that so that the Venly and TokenTraxx communities get closer and closer. We're already close because the way that we help no coiners get in onto TokenTraxx is by helping them with the Venly wallet. So we've got a number of our users who are already part of the Venly community, and we're excited to start rewarding the Venly community. We'll stay tuned. We'll have a special promotion coming up to Venly wallets over the course of the next week or so. And I think this partnership that we're doing with Venly is an example of a number of distribution deals that we're doing with other NFT collector communities. Spinamp, which is a NFT streaming service, is a really cool one that I'm excited about. And there's one very big deal that got confirmed this week that we'll be working on inking and putting into action over the course of the next month or so. So a lot of distribution work. Number 2 is Track Studios, because we've been working really hard on that for a long while. It's really exciting to get the first one live. So that's coming over the course of the next week with openlab.fm, and there'll be 5 other communities lighting up this quarter, and 30 in discussion currently to come live for the rest of the year. And then thirdly, we've got a super cool project with the United Nations, supporting artists from sub-Saharan Africa and helping them get paid faster for their work, and drawing attention to climate change in that region. And that will involve events with the United Nations at World Humanitarian Day and in Dubai at COP23, and also at Miami Art Basel. And finally, we're also collaborating with some film producers to release their film using Web3. So there'll be a film release called Trapping that's coming out in July. So they're just a little selection of some of the things we're excited about. But there's just as with, I suppose, so many Web3 projects, loads of things happening all the time.
Wow, there's really a lot you touched on here, and I've heard something that's coming up next week for the Venly wallets. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I'm really excited about it. So everyone, stay tuned. Again, make sure to follow us, TokenTraxx, also team. There really seems like there's a lot coming on. There's a lot of preparation for it. I've even heard movies at some point. So yeah, I'm just gonna be yeah, excited to see what's coming up in the next few months for us as well. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and ask my last question, and then we will move to the second part of this AMA, and I will be yeah, taking on the community questions. But before that, can you please tell us what is your advice for the aspiring Web3 musician, artists, and collectors?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you mentioned it earlier, everyone's on a different stage in that journey. But I think the advice that I'd give, and all of us at TokenTraxx would give, is that wherever you are on your journey of discovery and experimentation, then the key thing is to take the next step. So whether that is finding out the answer to a question that you don't understand, or experimenting by actually doing that idea that's in your head, or finding out how to do it. I think the key thing is just take that next step, and then I think the best way to do that is to become part of the community and join our community where we learn from one another. Whether that be Tommy D runs a space on Mondays, which has a number of the leading Web3 musicians as regulars on it. We of course have all of our usual Telegrams and Discords and socials that you can just jump into, ask questions and find out. And then we also have live events for members, which are quite cool. We quite often get sort of a cross section of people who are pretty established in their Web3 music journey, been doing it a year or so, mingling with people who are really just at the start of their journey, or maybe just finding out. And so I think it's where the community start to educate one another is where the magic happens.
Perfect. I love it. And I love the fact that you are always empowering the community. I think that, as you mentioned, this is the place where you can learn, you can share, and yeah, you can meet like-minded people, right? I think a great example of this is also the bikes, right? They have Eminem in it, they have Snoop Dogg. So yeah, you never know who you can meet with these great communities that are building around Web3. All right, thank you for that. Now, I actually see that we have a few people that requested to talk. Maybe they have some questions for you. Let's take some questions from the audience, and yeah, let's see how much time we have left there. T-Gods, let's see. Okay, let's invite you to speak. Can you hear us? Hello there. I think you are muted. Do you have a question for TokenTraxx?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. Thank you.
Okay, so firstly, I just want to know if you could like tell us more on how your team experience has helped so far in building the project, considering the you know obstacles around. How has your whole team experience helped so far in building the project to where it is today?
That's such a great question, and thank you for answering it. For asking it. Yeah, I mean, if you sort of look back when we in 10, 15 years from now, when we say, okay, which year did you launch your project in, and we say, oh, it was 2022, and gosh, what a year to launch a project in. It was, so much happened in the last 12 months, and obviously so much of it has been deeply challenging in lots of ways. But I think when we look back at the history of time, it's sometimes in the most challenging circumstances that the best things happen. And if the market had stayed the way it was in the early part of 2022, we wouldn't have had to do anything very cool or interesting to get traction and make lots of money, because the bull market was so frothy that you could do almost anything and be successful. And what we've seen in a far tougher, more constricted market is that you have to be smart and think about where adoption is really going to come from, and make sure you really deliver value. So I think it's the tough market that took us to the strategy that we've got, and I'm really excited about the strategy that we've got. I think it's going to be the thing that brings millions of users into this space in a very, very short period of time. And so I'm tough as the last year was, and I know it's it was brutally tough for lots of people, including many of my friends. I'm thankful for it, because I think out of those tough circumstances, lots of really good things will happen.
Thank you for that. I think this covers your question, Tigad. And again,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one more question actually. Can I ask?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to know, how does Trax usually review the music before publication? Like, how do you make sure the quality content is published from an artist?
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting, isn't it, if I could say that we have a really cool piece of AI that does it for it. But for us, no. But we do it the way that we've always quality controlled music, which is the most fun way. We listen to it, so every artist that submits their work, we listen to their work, which I think is a benefit in itself, because our team is built up of artists and music industry professionals, so they're people that know what they're doing, and we listen to the music, and if we like it, go with it. If we see some areas for improvement, we'll share that feedback.
All right. That's great. Thank you very much for the answer. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks
for jumping on with the questions.
Indeed, thank you for that, and thank you, Tim, for answering. Indeed, as you said, I strongly believe that we will also be here, for, like, as you said, right? People will be like, hey, this project launched in 2022, but I think Venly is going to be here for longer than we can remember. I think only our avatars will be here, but Venly and TokenTraxx will continue building up on it. I see that we have a lot of other questions from the audience. If you have someone specifically that you want to add in here, but otherwise I'll just take them as they came. I think Mr. Popularity was next, so I'm just going to add him as a speaker as well. Let's see if he can hear us. Can you hear us, sir? Hello there, Mr. Popularity. Are you able to hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for bringing me back. So my question is, I just wanted to know more about like some of the innovation plans you actually have for the next 6 to 12 months. So, like, what are you actually focusing on actually achieving?
Sure. Yeah. So sort of the longer term roadmap. The kind of core piece is as I've touched on before, the release of Trax Studios. So and the release of Trax Studios into multiple communities. And each one of those comes with its own technology challenges, because there's we've built the technology to be deployed quickly and easily, but the bigger communities have integration requirements that we need to take care of. Second is, I suppose, just building further functionality into the platform, some of which is through integrations. An example of further functionality will be token gated content, that will come up over the course of the next quarter. So that will be where holders of NFTs can use that NFT to access content and experiences that only those NFT holders can get to see, or integrations such as with services that can measure behaviors on Web2, so social sharing or listening on Spotify, and then reward people that do those behaviors. So if you hold the NFT and you do 3 tweets, then you get rewarded. So doing some interesting integrations, things like that. Bigger in terms of sort of blockchain developments, now that Zilliqa's gone EVM compatible, as they roll out that EVM compatibility, we'll be rolling out Zilliqa compatibility across all of our services. So then that makes us a multi-chain, and we're already multi-chain on both Ethereum and Polygon, but truly multi-chain on Ethereum, Polygon, and Zilliqa, offering I suppose just all about broadening communities and offering more services to more people, and then sort of further down the track, got gaming experiences coming up for integrations into gaming and metaverse experiences, and then beyond that, looking at some infrastructure transformation pieces. So how to get artists paid faster using the combination of DeFi plus Web3 music, from not only their Web3 music revenues, but also their traditional music revenues as well.
Okay, that's great. Can I ask one more question, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to know, like, what is your strategy to actually onboard more users into your ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I touched on earlier, the users are already there. So our strategy is to put our ecosystem into where the users are. Simply put, so there are music communities all around the world, and if you're one of them, do get in touch. But there are hundreds and thousands of really big music communities all around the world, and so our strategy for onboarding those users into our ecosystem is to put the technology we've built into those communities, and that's the simple version of it.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the answer.
Thank you for asking the question as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, I see many more hands raising, but I have to first ask, do you still have enough time to take more questions? I just want to make sure, because I'm here. I love to keep this going, but I know you guys have a lot on your hands. I think we need 2 more questions. Otherwise, we can take it from the comments. Do you still have time to continue with the live questions?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I probably will need to go in the next sort of 8 to 10 minutes, but I can keep the next person waiting for a little bit longer, because I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Me too. Exactly. All right then. I think Panda was the next one. Let's invite him to speak and see if he's still around. Hello there, Panda. Can you hear us? You should be able to speak now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I was going through the website of Venly, and I saw that you have a wallet called Venly Wallet. So I just want to know, like, is this Venly Wallet like available in like app form, both for Android, iPhone, and probably PC?
I'll take this one, I guess. Indeed, the Venly Wallet is not yet for an app. We actually had going within the community, and for all the wallet users, we have been going like a feedback form for our product team. So again, I cannot give you guys any dates or so forth, but I can tell you that there is a mobile app coming up.
All right, thank you. I
All right.
have one more question. Can I ask? I just have one more question. Can I ask?
We would like to focus on the TokenTraxx questions, although we obviously love the questions for Venly as well, and time is a little bit limited. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead with it.
All right. So I was just thinking, like, this website also be like written in other major languages like Chinese, French, for other people that might not understand this thing to like go through it easily. I don't know, just like a suggestion.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I mean, it's funny. I was talking to someone who is studying Spanish, Chinese, and Russian at university at the moment, who's probably going to be joining us in the summer and thinking about what she does when she comes to TokenTraxx. And one of the things was translating us into multiple languages. So that's definitely on the plan. It's not top priority right now. I think top priority is scaling adoption and getting things right within English-speaking communities, and then we'll move to translate to different languages. And thank you to all of the many members of the community around the world who are happy to work with us in languages that's not their first tongue.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you as well for asking the question. All right, we'll take one more, and yeah, then we'll kind of wrap this up for now. Let's see. I think Queen is next. Let's invite him or her to speak. Queen, you should be able to speak now. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello there.
Thank you very much for bringing me up to speak. I just want to know, security and anonymity of every project is one of the main priority for the investors. So I want to know, how is your project like? How is your platform secure enough for its investors against some of these hackers attacks in the future? Like, what are some of the security measures that you guys have put in place? And talking about the audits, I want you to share some of the audits that have been done within your ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I mean, I really should have my colleague Jitin Jain, our CTO, help you with the details of this question. He's at Consensus at the moment. So, I mean, just to give you an example of the level of detail that we put into our auditing. The auditing of the Traxx studio has been done by Certic. We have all of the smart contracts on the platform have been thoroughly audited. Jitin's experience in the space is absolutely grade 1, and he's incredibly security conscious. He's on at the whole team all the time to do everything we can to maximize security. Jitin's been in Web3 since 2016, well, building in Web3 since 2016, and has never had any of the projects that he's been building on hacked. One of the things we always say is never say never. We're continually vigilant. We always watch out for the risk of possible attacks. We build everything with the maximum security in mind, because protecting our users is so important.
That's really great. And before I leave, I just wanted to share with us, what are some of your competitive advantage towards other similar projects in this ecosystem? Like, what are some of your unique characteristics, features that your project possess that will attract more investors into your own ecosystem?
Thank you. I mean, I think number one is the strategy, which we've touched on already. So the strategy that builds scale really fast. And then number two is the people we've got doing it. We have an incredible team of seasoned music industry professionals, Web3 technology professionals, and I suppose growth experts like myself, that that are making this happen, and I think it's the people that make the difference, and so that's one significant competitive advantage. I don't think anyone's got a team that we have. And the second one would be the scale strategy of taking our technology to communities rather than trying to bring communities to our technology.
That's really great. Best of luck in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much indeed. And yeah, thank you everyone for really taking the interest. And in terms of the security, indeed, I know you guys are also a lot focused on it. Venly also did and does a great job with it as well. We have like bank security, bank level security. So your funds will be safe and secure, right? Our wallet is also semi-custodial. So it's great to have this question asked, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that all of our funds are in a safe place. All right. Indeed, thank you, Tim, for taking the time to joining, answering all of our questions. I see and I know that there are many other questions the community wants to ask. I'm sure that you guys can head over to their Discord and they will make sure to answer all of your questions. So feel free to follow the Venly account, the venly-market account, the MetaRing account. Why not even buy a MetaRing? Make sure to follow Tim and the TokenTraxx. And also don't forget to head over to our marketplace and actually buy one of the NFTs that we are dropping. This will also automatically earn you some Vens. And yeah, I'm sure you'll have a blast in there. In terms of the winners, we want to be fair and square with everyone. So I also chose some of my favorite questions from the comments, and we also had a lot in here. Again, for all of you that didn't had your question asked, make sure to head over to their Twitter or their website and join their community and ask your question. In terms of choosing the winners, we'll make sure to choose them based on the quality of the question, just so it's loud and clear for everyone. Again, thank you so much, Tim, for joining, and thank you, the audience, for coming out. Time is our most valuable asset, and we appreciate all of you for giving us a little bit of yours.
Cool, thank you. And don't forget, there's more coming in terms of TokenTraxx and Venly engagement. So we will look out in your Venly wallet. You might receive a little gift in there very soon from TokenTraxx, and do follow us, and we'll tell you more about that and what to do to build on that start.
Awesome, indeed. Yeah, make sure to check out your Venly wallet. And if you don't already have one, the onboarding takes like 2 seconds. You just need to have a social media account or an email address, and you can right away just create one. Again, thank you so much, Tim, for joining. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing the next couple of weeks and what we are bringing out to you guys. Thanks again, Tim.
Thank you so much. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.